The following program, NORML Show Live, is intended for responsible adults only. We advocate for the repeal of marijuana prohibition for adults. We discuss the science, culture, and controversy about America's marijuana laws. We do not advocate or encourage any illegal activity and advise all listeners to learn their state and federal marijuana laws by visiting NORML.org, NORML.org. Opinions and claims made by guests and advertisers of NORML Show Live are their own and do not necessarily reflect the philosophy and policies of NORML. Listener discretion is advised.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it, and it goes down smooth. Hey!
Spanning the continent to bring you the truth about cannabis and marijuana law reform.
I smoke pot and I like it a lot.
From the promise of legalization.
And I think we need to rethink and recriminalize our marijuana laws.
To the agony of prohibition.
One major responsibility is to encourage people to use less drugs.
The National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws presents NORML Show Live, Marijuana Nation. Now, here's your host, NORML's Outreach Coordinator, Radical Russ Belville.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is Tuesday, August 10th, 2010, and it's got to be 420 somewhere in the world. Thanks for joining us in our little corner of cyberspace we call NORML Show Live. We're coming to you live and direct from Rolla J Studios in beautiful Potland, Oregon, the home of the 2010 NORML National Conference, September 9th through 11th at the gorgeous Governor's Hotel. Also joining me in the studio to my left, the chronic to my blunt man?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ganja John.
Get some claps in there somewhere. Oh, and new owner of Ganja John at NORML.org.
That's right.
Yeah.
Ganja John is just John.
No, it's Ganja John.
You got him to change it?
No, it was Ganja John.
No, that had to do with the password, man. It's just John at NORML.org.
Trust me, Russ, it's Ganja John.
It's fixed. All right. What do I know? Yeah. And also joining us from our virtual studio in beautiful Astoria, Oregon, the lovely and talented Cannabis Carrie. Hello,
maybe
Carrie.
you can give out all your passwords on the air. That'd be cool.
Yeah, thanks, Russ. Luckily, I changed it this morning.
That's not the password anyway. So, Carrie, I hope the email worked out okay for you. Is it Carrie at NORML.org now?
I don't know. This is the first I've heard of it.
You
got
the email. You got the email last night.
Yeah,
I know what your password is, Carrie.
Yeah, we sent out the email for your account and John's account, official NORML.org accounts. And today I'm trying to process the order for your business cards, but the credit cards aren't going through like they should.
I'll do the business cards.
Well, we'll figure it all out. Coming up on today's show.
Not on the air. God.
We got a lot of great stuff on today's show, so we better get to it. First of all, Carrie will take care of the news right after the first break. What's in the headlines today, Carrie?
Well, we're looking at two news segments today. One, I love news of the world, so we're going to go to a North African country and talk about some cannabis issues going on there. And we're going to look at a brand new study that splits up adolescents in their socioeconomic groups and what that says about their drugs and substance use.
All right, interesting stuff. Also packed into there, we're going to do a mini radical rant, tossed salad, stoners against legalization article of the day. Yes, Stoners Against Legalization article of the day. It's going to be a great little rant here coming up. And then 20 after, we got your Daily Toker Tunes. Sarah will be here to bring us some great Electric Tuesday music. At 1:30, we've got a very interesting cannabis community interview with Matthew Zugsberger, who's facing trial in Louisiana for his medical use of marijuana, in a stunning twist in this trial that could set precedent for all medical marijuana users in the state of Louisiana. Very fascinating information. And then at 45 past, the California Marijuana Report. I'm really looking forward to this one. They've got Joe Harris from The Undisputed Truth. Some of you who know your 70s soul will know who I'm talking about. He says he is cancer-free because of cannabis treatment, so we'll be interested to hear his story. All that and more coming up on NORML Show Live. Plus, at the end of the show, we got a special NORML After the Show.
Yeah, I think we're gonna keep that rolling.
Yeah, and I think we might even have, cross your fingers, Collins! All right, we'll see you in just a minute.
You're listening to NORML Show Live, the voice of the marijuana nation. NORML Show Live will bring you exclusive live coverage of Seattle Hempfest on the third weekend of August. You'll probably remember more of it than those of us attending.
Today I was walking down the street, to my surprise,
The National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, or NORML, invites you to our 39th Annual National Conference, Legalization, Just Say Now, in beautiful Portland, Oregon. Extend your visit through Sunday, September 12th, and you can also attend the free two-day Portland Hempstock, the largest outdoor cannabis and music festival in Oregon. Details available on the web at norml.org/conference or by calling 202-483-5500.
Medical marijuana, industrial hemp, consumer cannabis. It's time for this week's NORML News with Cannabis Carrie.
Some news of the world today. In Morocco, the North African country where many wealthy Europeans play, a small remote town staged a recent protest of local police who are demanding bribes from marijuana growers. In the village of Ba Bared, a remote mountain town that few tourists would ever visit, cannabis farmers have been growing cannabis for hash production for generations. It has long been seen as the heart of cannabis cultivation in the area, even though cannabis is officially illegal. Police in the area have long turned a blind eye to the farmers who openly cultivate cannabis in large structured fields. In recent years, though, the police have been demanding bribes by the farmers to continue their farming activities. Thousands of families in the region live off the cultivation of cannabis, what they call locally as the culture of kief. Farmers say that the area's harsh climate makes it almost impossible to grow anything else. Like the Western world, where cannabis is also illegal and a large cash crop, marijuana cultivation in Morocco is the most lucrative source of income in the country, where it is a crime to possess or process cannabis. European countries have complained to the EU that Morocco is a prime source of cannabis smuggled into their territories. The Moroccan government claims that a recent crackdown on hashish production is in accordance with several international treaties. Since 2003, Morocco has received more than 28 million euros from the EU for eradication efforts. The United States has given an additional $43 million to Morocco to help farmers find new crops to replace cannabis. Some families of farmers have been raising the plant for the last 100 years in the region, going back 5 generations. Cannabis farming is not that easy there. Weather problems often wipe out entire crops. Now, back in April, during a crackdown, an attempt by the police to search one farmer's home sparked anger of the local population. Well, military and police trucks surrounded the home at 4 a.m. The wife of the cannabis farmer barred entry to the door while dozens of neighbors gathered around the property to support the family. The very next day, an estimated crowd of 10,000, now this is in a town with a population of about 8,000, gathered in the main streets of the village to voice their anger. Villagers from throughout the region say that the local authorities regularly threaten them with warrants to prevent them from talking. They make sure farmers know that they can arrest them at any given time they choose. The authorities invoked the presence of illegal weapons as an excuse to search the houses. Those that can't afford expensive bribes are often spared the harassment. One farmer who produces 10 kilos a year and sells them for around $300 each to feed his family and send his kids to school says that he now has to pay a bribe 3 times a year. The police usually come to his house and bargain over his freedom. He says that if you don't give them anything, you go to jail. They have nothing to lose because if you go to jail, you're used as an example to the other farmers. The recent protest was held by young men who shouted, "Long live the king," a slogan invoking Morocco's ruler as a shield from police repression in the area.
Wow, what an amazing story. But, you know, it just goes to show how a market will evolve in a way in prohibition. I mean, if it were legal, right? If it were legal to farm marijuana in Morocco or America or wherever, if it were legal to farm marijuana, you would have to comply with rules and regulations, and every now and then you'd have to pay some money to an official of the state for licensing, for taxes, whatever. But since it's illegal, you have to farm your marijuana, and every now and then you have to pay some money to an official from the state. You have to pay a bribe, right? It works either way. So, I mean, people are still farming it. People are still smoking it. Why not get rid of the pretense here and just legalize it?
A brand new study by a group that looks at substance abuse came out last week, and it has debunked a popular myth about kids from more affluent homes. The study analyzed data from the National Longitudinal Survey of Adolescent Health, a nationally representative survey of secondary school students in the United States. They examined the relationship between adolescence and substance use as it is linked to parental education and income. We have long been told that it is more socially disadvantaged kids who are exposed to drug elements more often and therefore must have more substance use than their suburban peers who have all the advantages of nice neighborhoods, affluent parents with educations, and are sheltered from the harsh element of higher crime rate in their areas. The study showed the exact opposite. They suggest that adolescents from a higher socioeconomic background are actually at a higher risk than their less affluent peers. According to the study, higher parental income is associated with higher rates of binge drinking and marijuana use. There is no statistically significant results found for methamphetamine or other drug uses in this particular study. Previous research shows that adolescents that participate in drug experimentation and early age binge drinking have a higher percentage of problems in school, a decrease in employment, and an increase in DUIs and an increase in accidental deaths. The study points out that much of the previous literature from teenage use studies focused on populations with lower economic status, and the result has been a greater focus of prevention programs among those populations. The study is aimed at parents, teachers, and school administrators of the need to address drug abuse prevention for adolescents in this demographic.
Well, two quick thoughts that come to mind on that one. Number one, who can afford those $300 ounces and $60 an eighth? I mean, but the rich kids, right? And number two, when you grow up in that kind of atmosphere, you kind of get away with stuff from a very early age, and you see your parents are able to do things that the poor folks can't get away with. And you know that even if you do get caught, you got the resources to get the lawyer to get out of it. So these findings are no surprise to me.
You want answers? I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. You want answers?
You have offended my family.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth.
And you have offended Shaolin Temple.
You can't handle the truth.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Radical Rant.
All right, we're kind of throwing the Radical Rant in the middle of the show because I had to make sure to get to this one. I believe that most of the folks in California who are on our side, call us tokers, call us stoners, potheads, cannabis consumers, medical marijuana patients, whatever, all of us together, and in no way implying that any of these that I mentioned are any of the others that I mentioned. We're a big, beautiful rainbow family here. I do believe most of us here are voting on Prop 19 in California, those of us who live in California, and those of us who don't, we're supporting Prop 19 because we know this is our biggest and best and first chance in 38 years to legalize marijuana in a state. So we're very, very much behind that. And of course, at NORML, we're very behind that. But I've been blogging recently about these websites that are popping up, not from the natural opposition of law enforcement and church groups and parents groups or whatever, but from stoners against legalization. So I've come up with this new segment I'm going to call Toss Salad, Stoners Against Legalization Article of the Day. Cute, catchy acronym. It's kind of a perfect storm for me because I'm all about blogs and I'm about the internet and I'm about cannabis and irony. I love irony, and the irony of stoners voting against their own liberation just blows my mind. I can't resist it.
I liked what Terry Joyce said. It's like gays against gay marriage.
Exactly.
Doesn't make sense.
It's crazy. So I've already covered some of their stuff on their website. The latest website here is called stop19.com. And I already covered in a blog post about some of their stuff. They came on with a big page of Joe Camel, the old Joe Camel ad with a cannabis tattoo, and it says, Big Tobacco wants to put 600 addictive and poisonous additives in your cannabis. And it's all Richard Lee and the cannabis millionaires and the cannabis cartel, all this. I already debunked a lot of that on the blog at stash.normal.org. What I wanted to get to right today, this particular salad for the day, is this latest post in their blog, because they update it from time to time, and I'm going to keep coming back and calling them out on it. And this is their latest one. This is their latest argument as to why stoners should vote against Prop 19. Fact.
Prop 19 puts you at the mercy of your landlord by forcing you to seek permission to grow cannabis. Currently, no statewide law specifically mandates that Prop 215 patients ask permission to grow their medicine. While growing your own supply is fun as hell, it can also be messy, dangerous, and can easily cause damage if done improperly. Not to mention, homeowners' insurance is likely to rise and homes containing cannabis could face seizure by the federal government. Considering this, do you think that many landlords will allow it? Ask yours and find out for yourself. Then vote no on Prop 19. Now, I've been a renter all my life, right? I come from poor family, musician family. My folks have rented houses all their lives. I have scanned rental applications many, many times and looked through all the fine print, and never once did I see one that said, hey, if you want to grow a 5x5 marijuana garden, that's fine with us. It doesn't exist. You can't grow marijuana in someone's rental house now! if they don't want you to. It is their property. And I'm trying to wrap my head around this logic, this defense where he says, growing your own supply is fun, but it can cause damage. It could raise homeowners insurance and cause the property to be seized by the federal government. That's your defense? Of course a landlord wouldn't want that. I don't want my property taken away by the government for someone. I don't want some dingleberry out there rewiring the house with some electricity load that he has no idea what he's doing. Come on now, of course this has the right for the property owners to dictate what goes on in their property. They own the damn property. At least when these guys are arguing that they should vote no on Prop 19 because it takes away the joy of toking up with teenagers and puffing in front of preschoolers, I can understand that motivation. Because, if you are an older than 21 person who likes hanging out with teenagers and smoking weed, yes, this will kind of put a crimp in your lifestyle. We're looking at you, David Wooderson. They just keep getting the same age, right? They seem to be arguing here that since your landlord might not let you grow cannabis, you should vote to keep that activity a felony for everyone, even the people who own their own property and don't have to get a landlord's permission. That's the argument they're making. And the fact is, some landlords might be cool with you growing a 5x5 garden. So I couldn't leave their site without posting a comment, but I know they're moderating the comments, and I've heard from other drug bloggers out there, drug war bloggers, that have been trying to post comments. They say no, it never gets up. So I posted a comment there, and I'm hoping it makes it past. I tried to make it as subversively sarcastic as possible. Let's see if this will work. If we let landlords control the properties they own, the cannabis cartel wins. Who do these property owners think they are, trying to take renters' rights to doing fun, messy, dangerous, federally illegal activities in the properties they own? We're better off now, keeping our gardens secret from our landlords so the cops don't find out. How would we ever keep our grows secret if Prop 19 passes? We wouldn't, because Philip Morris will control all the marijuana grown in California and will be forced to drive to millionaire Richard Lee's cannabis cartels to buy swaggy, mass-produced joints with 600 addictive and poisonous additives in them. Keep up the good fight. Don't let stoners be taken in by these fascist socialists. Wilhelm Scream, Rancho Cucamonga.
Wilhelm Scream.
Yes, that's my new name. I've come up with the new name, Wilhelm Scream. For those of you who don't get the joke, this is an engineer joke in radio.
Yeah.
You go ahead and tell them about the Wilhelm Scream.
The Wilhelm Scream is an old sound that someone found that was named "Man Being Eaten by Alligator," and now every sound engineer keeps it in his repertoire. Because of course I don't have it right now, but every sound engineer
we'll get it.
We'll get it, and it's in every Lucas movie.
Yeah,
I know
every
that.
Star Wars,
every
movie.
Star Wars movie, every
It's that sound of the guy going, ah! Yeah. The Wilhelm Scream. So that's the latest from the Stop19.com people. They are arguing that because your landlord might say that you can't grow a garden, you should vote to keep it illegal for anyone to grow a garden. Talk about I got some lines, man. And again, it comes back to this, this little parenthetical thing. He says, currently no statewide law specifically mandates that Prop 215 patients ask permission to grow their medicine. Prop 19 does not supersede Prop 215. There will still be Prop 215. If you are a patient in California, you will still be a patient in California. You will still be growing where you're growing as much as you're growing, buying what you're buying as much as you're buying. It does not change Prop 215. But, it's kind of like arguing with a rock sometimes. These people, I'm going to have to dig a little deeper and find out who they actually are behind this Prop19.com, Stop19.com.
I'd say we just invite them on the show right now.
Oh, we could. I did an interview with John Doe Radio last night with a girl who, part of their show, she was like, I want to hold out for full legalization. And I said, well, what's full legalization? And she says, well, everybody can have cannabis and nobody goes to jail for anything related to cannabis, and everybody who's in jail for cannabis is released from prison. I'm like, yeah, I'm all for that too. You think you can get it on the ballot and you think it can pass.
Good luck.
Let's take our first step and at least make it legal to have an ounce in a 5x5 garden. We'll expand from there.
This break brought to you by Incredible.
Yes, I'm afraid so. We're having some good times here at Normal Show Live. We'll be right back with your Daily Toker Tune.
It's 20 after the hour, and we have to take a short break, if you know what I mean. Please support these sponsors who support Normal Show Live.
Oh, have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. Have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. If he said he swam to China, he would sell you South Carolina. Then you know you're talking to that reefer man.
NORML National Conference 2010, September 9th through the 11th in beautiful Portland, Oregon. Portland? Is this a typo? Oh, I get it. For more details, see norml.org/conference.
High as a kite, everybody!
This drug in front of me is what they call marijuana.
If we had a dime for every dime bag bought in America, marijuana would be legal by now. Donate to NORML at norml.org and support Normal Show Live.
Going to light. Roll a big fatty.
It's time for your Daily Toker Tunes, the best in 420 friendly music from all genres that uplifts, entertains, and informs the public. Today we bring you tunes for Electric Tuesday, our segment featuring the best of modern electric music in the genres of dance, new age, house, and experimental. Brought to you by Sarah Kant in Boston, Massachusetts, and Sarah Kant Photography. If you'd like to submit your song to be played on Normal Show Live, send it to us at stash@norml.org. Now here's some more great independent marijuana music for today's Daily Toker Tunes.
All right, Electric Tuesday, time for us to go out to the East Coast, Boston, Massachusetts, and speak with Sarah. Sarah, how are you doing, darling? Oh, we're having trouble getting Sarah on the line. Are you there? Okay, well, I will just go ahead and introduce the group here. Formed in 1999, Digital Motion are a techno band from Southlake, Texas. Members RT and Kevin play live shows in and around Dallas, as well as distribute their music exclusively online through indie label Blue Plastic Girl Music. Online distribution has not stopped the entertainment industry from taking notice. Their music has been used in movie trailers for films such as Jet Li's War and Will Ferrell's Land of the Lost. There's a winner. As well as television shows and commercials, video games, and other forms of media. Digital Motion have released 4 full-length CDs. After a recording hiatus of a few years, they are working on a new music and videos again this year that they call Big Beat. Don't be fooled by the minimalistic bleepy intro of the unpronounceable 108_B2 dope mix. I can pronounce it. Yeah. The multi-layered electronica contains intense bass lines and solid breaks that lend themselves well to fluid movement and hookah use. This track is clearly influenced by Eastern, primarily subcontinental music, and instruments, including a hauntingly ethereal sample of a chanting woman. It may also include the rather surreal, digitally enhanced sample of a duck. Digital Motion can be found on MySpace. Check it out on the web. We'll have it posted later today. This is Digital Motion with 108_B2 Dope Mix.
You want a copy of that song for your iPod? Check out the Daily Toker Tunes at the Stash blog by surfing to stash.normal.org and choosing Media, and then Toker Tunes from the main menu.
That's what I need. When I smoke it, satisfaction guaranteed.
Hi, this is Alan St. Pierre, Executive Director of NORML. This year, the Drug Czar's office has a $60 million budget for advertising their Reefer Madness propaganda. We here at NORML don't have that kind of money, but we've got two weapons for fighting back. Your donations and the truth. Please, make a donation to NORML so we can continue to expand this podcast and our other media campaigns. Even a donation of $4.20 can help. Visit us on the web at norml.org or call toll-free 888-67-NORML, NORML. Thank you for caring and sharing.
Give me the weed. That's what I need. When I smoke it, satisfaction guaranteed.
Starfish Designs, makers of the original Gandalf.
I'm Radical Russ, and when I want to relax, I always have my 17-inch long original Gandalf from Starfish Designs nearby. The hand-blown borosilicate glass is strong and easy to clean, and the design is sleek and sophisticated. Starfish Designs are available from Bend, Oregon at a glass retailer near you. For locations, call 541-788-GLASS. That's 541-788-4527.
The most devastating effect of the war on marijuana is that it is a war on everyday people like you and me. All week, we speak to the doctors, scientists, celebrities, and politicians who make up the professionals fighting for cannabis liberty. But we never forget about the tens of millions who use cannabis, the millions who need medical access to cannabis, and the hundreds of thousands arrested every year for cannabis, and the tens of thousands imprisoned under our marijuana laws. At NORML, we are the Cannabis Consumers Lobby, and we take this opportunity to share the experience of our cannabis community.
All right, welcome back. It's 30 after the hour, and we are getting on the line here with Matthew Zugsberger. Matthew, can you hear me, sir?
Hello.
Hello, Matthew. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, great. Glad to have you here. We were having some difficulty with our Skype, but it seems to be working okay now. We learned about your case coming in through email from our NORML Louisiana chapter and Robert out there. And we wanted to talk a little bit about this on the show because we thought it was a kind of interesting situation. Can you give folks a little bit about your background? Where do you hail from, and how did you end up in Louisiana?
Well, my traditional background, I was a pretty conservative guy. I was in the Marine Corps. After I left the Marine Corps, I went to work in truck shops, a couple Peterbilt in Seattle, and grew on a couple big trucking companies. Then I ended up going to work in the oil field as a commercial diver, doing underwater construction and welding. And I ended up getting hurt on a job out there at a place called Main Pass 69 when a pipeline hit me and hurt me pretty bad. And I got out of commercial diving at that point, and with all my medical injuries, I was on a lot of pain pills. After about a year of taking them, they were just killing me.
Yeah.
And I ended up going out to California as relief.
So you've been injured, you're suffering.
Got to California.
You've been injured, you're suffering, and so
yes,
you move yourself out to California because, of course, Louisiana, it doesn't look so kindly upon people using cannabis. They want to keep you on those pills. So you get to California. Let's go from there.
And after living in California for a couple months, my ex-girlfriend, who was watching my dogs in Louisiana, she was going to school, asked me to come down and watch the place for about 2 months.
Okay.
And I went down there, and I had 2 pounds shipped to me, and it was intercepted by the Narcotics Joint Task Force, and they did a sting operation to have me arrested in Louisiana.
Okay.
The package came in, and when I signed for it, the guy was in a UPS uniform or a FedEx uniform, and when I signed for the package, they executed a no-knock warrant and arrested me.
Okay, so where this becomes interesting as far as how it would affect the community is in going to trial here. Of course, you're in the state of Louisiana, there's no medical marijuana protections, and federally, of course, marijuana is illegal. Under Louisiana state law, marijuana is illegal. When we see the defendants go to federal court, oftentimes they are not even allowed to mention that they have a medical disability, that they're medical marijuana patients, that they were following the law. In your case, though, there's an interesting twist here that could set precedent. Tell folks about that.
Yes, it's quite interesting. In Louisiana, for years, everybody has thought that it's been a non-medical marijuana state, and that's not exactly the truth at all. In 1974, under the Nixon administration's push to have the war on drugs escalated, Louisiana adopted its Dangerous Uniform Controlled Substances Act of 1974, which is RS 4961 and all chapters therefor. And if you're arrested in Louisiana, you will be arrested for marijuana. You'll be arrested for violating RS 4966. The interesting thing about that law, though, is that in Title C of that law, it clearly states that no person shall knowingly or intentionally possess a dangerous controlled substance classified in Schedule 1 unless such substance was obtained directly or pursuant to a valid prescription or order from a practitioner.
Aha. And since you were in California...
So I really put the courts in...
And since you were in California...
I didn't have a legal script. Their next argument... and their next argument at that point was, well, that's a California prescription. We don't have to honor that here. And that's when I essentially started digging up case law on invoking Article 4 of the U.S. Constitution, the Full Faith and Credit Act.
Right, and that, of course, is that every state has to give recognition to the states that are legally, obeying their laws. It's so that it's kind of the reason why, we can have a driver's license in one state and go to another state and we're okay, right?
Absolutely, it's a reciprocity act, and a lot of people don't understand that was the deal breaker for actually signing the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. Senator Hawthorne of South Carolina wanted nothing to do with the secession from Great Britain unless he could have absolute assurity that there would be a reciprocity between states and one other state could invade another state.
Yeah. So in this situation, one of the things that always gets us hung up is the fact that we have the situation that the word prescription gets put in there. But what you're saying is in the Louisiana law, it's not just prescription. It's order. What did you say? Order of a physician or something like that. What was the wording?
Yes, a clinical. Either a valid prescription or an order from a practitioner.
There we go.
Under Louisiana RS 4961 definitions, an order is a written request for a drug or a therapeutic aid to correct a mental, psychological, or physical ailment.
Mm-hmm.
Which I do have, but the basis of my argument, though, is very important that people must understand. Just because I had my recommendation in the paper, that's not the basis of the case that I'm arguing the Article 4 of the U.S. Constitution under. What I'm arguing the Article 4 of the U.S. Constitution under is that I had a state-issued ID with a state seal on it.
Right.
That is what should be honored. Yes.
And so this is the first time in a Louisiana court where they've held something like this, where they're going to admit your use of marijuana legally under California law. This is actually going to be admitted in court, and from what I understand, this has never happened before. There's never been an affirmative defense to medical marijuana use.
No, it's never been issued as an affirmative defense. There was a case similar where a gentleman said, "Look, I use marijuana for medical purposes," and reduce it to a simple possession case. But due to the sheer amount from what they stipulate seems to be their biggest concern, that they're not going to label it as a simple possession case.
So can you tell us what the amount is, or you've been advised not to?
Yeah, it's 2.12 pounds.
Now, less than a kilo then.
I'm sorry?
That would be a little bit less than a kilogram then. So Yeah, not talking a ton of cannabis, especially here in the state of Oregon, and also in the state of Washington. The effective limit for medical marijuana patients is 24 ounces of dried cured medicine, and that's 1.5 pounds. And Washington State, when they were going through the process of making that determination, had actually invited in experts to determine what would be a reasonable, because the Washington law said 60-day supply, and they said what would be a reasonable 60-day supply. These guys came back, and said 70 ounces. 70 ounces, which would be 35 ounces per month that they came down, and the compromise was eventually made down to 24 ounces. So the notion that 2 pounds or 32 ounces is not medical use, that just does not hold up for some patients.
No, and it's right. And one thing too is that each one of us, being who we all have different tolerances and chemical adaptability to each chemical or chemical compound. Just because if I had 1 pound of, say, grape ape strain, it would affect me differently than 100 other people.
Mm-hmm. And also the fact that it's not necessarily smoking or vaporizing, which is the method that's being used. You could oftentimes be cooking or tinctures where you need much more of the cannabis to get the same amount of effect.
Absolutely, and that was the deal in Louisiana, is that having it condensed from a flowered product to an actual hash compound, then added to food, had a greater effect for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the thing that disturbs me about this too is that if someone's trapped in Louisiana, it's not as if you can go down to the local dispensary and take care of your medical needs as you run out day by day or week by week. You kind of need to have a pretty good supply to be able to make it and not have severe medical needs going unmet. So yes, the 2 pounds, I don't think that is any sort of basis. It scares people when it's said in the media, but for people who have actually worked with patients. That's not a whole lot of medicine. So where are we going from here with your trial? What's up next?
Well, as far as I know, nothing right now. It's been kind of put on hold due to the oil catastrophe.
Oh, sure.
But, it's funny you brought up that other subject about the 24 ounces. That brings me to another story. My case in Washington. That case is very unique because that case can help thousands of people. That case has already made case law. I became the first person, me and my girlfriend, became the first person in the United States to win an interstate medical marijuana trial and receive 10 pounds of marijuana from the Seattle police.
10 pounds back from the Seattle police. Wow. How did that happen?
Yes. Well, essentially, when we went to trial, we were arrested with 14 pounds at the time. We were actually coming to do a charitable donation to several patients that we knew that didn't have little or no money, and we had that left over. And so we brought the 14 pounds up as a compromise with Dan Sandberg of the King County District Attorney's Office. He had me plead guilty to simple possession, less than 40 grams, for having more medication than legally prescribed for the 4 pounds over the 10 pounds between the two of us, because I'm recommended 5 pounds.
Mm-hmm. So, wow.
And as a result of that, once the plea deal was entered into court, the judge, everybody thought we were all concluded there. And that's when I said to the judge, essentially with my attorney, Your Honor, this is going to sound outlandish, but the fact of the matter is, by taking this plea deal, we've already established that I have a valid medical marijuana script, right? And the judge says, absolutely. And I said, well, if we're saying that the 4 pounds were criminal, then the other 10 pounds must not have been criminal. I invoked my right under Article 4 of the United States Constitution, Baker versus General Motors, and I asked for my 5 pounds back. And they awarded me my 5 pounds and my girlfriend 5 pounds back. But there was a catch, though. We could only pick up 24 ounces every 7 days.
Oh, so you had to hang around Seattle for a while.
So we traveled back and forth. We drove back and forth every 7 days.
Wow, that's an amazing story. So this is, one thing though. You got caught in Washington. You got caught in Louisiana. What's going on here? You need to get a different car or something? What's happening?
Oh, I think that once you already step on the rattlesnake. The rattlesnake seems to want to know where you're at all times anyway. So
yeah, so yeah, you're kind of making waves there.
I think after the Louisiana thing. But, I had another case, too. Are you familiar with my California case?
Well, tell us about the California case.
I was arrested because after my arrest in Louisiana for my 2.12 pounds, they told me that, I should have hand-delivered it to the state. So that's what I did. I got on an airplane. I was arrested for carrying 3 pounds of marijuana on the airplane.
Wow. Okay, so let's see if we can break this down. 14 pounds in Washington, 2 pounds in Louisiana, 3 pounds in an airplane in California. We've got a lot of people in our chat room that want to be your friend.
Yeah, I think you should come to NORML conference, Matt.
So it gets even worse. My arrest in Arizona was 26 pounds.
How many states have you been arrested in, Matthew?
Yeah, most people, as they get busted, they tend to lose assets. I seem to grow every time they fuck me over. So.
This is amazing.
I would like all you normal people to join Matt Zuckerberg on his 50-state arrest tour.
Yeah, is this a goal? You're trying to collect a mugshot?
That's what I'm talking
about. Well, I don't want to have to see...
Eventually we'll bankrupt the courts.
On you alone, yeah. Well, you have certainly a great attitude about all of this, and I love what you're doing here, winning these cases and setting some precedents here. I want to give you a chance here. We got to wrap up, but I want to give you a chance to tell folks anything else you want to tell them, and give them, if you've got links or websites or emails, anything you want to get out. Go right ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Well, look, I'm on Facebook. You can type my name, and it's Matthew Zuckerberg. You can find me. I'm always welcome to listen and talk to whoever. If I can give some advice that will help, I'd be glad to. I'm out there on the fight for all of you because I want you to have the right. Just because you're sick, you're not confined to the prison of California or Oregon or Washington. You have a right to travel under the Article 4 of the U.S. Constitution. Stand up and take your rights back. And ladies and gentlemen out there, this is a very important time in history. We're on the downward slope of the peak of the country we're in. But we have a chance to make a new peak. And let's really get proactive. NORML is a good organization. I have my chats with the leadership.
Hello? Well, that's going to sound conspiratorial, isn't it?
In there, but I said thank you for all your support, really.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. We keep doing everything we can to try to support patients, and you are definitely you're bucking the system, and you're fighting for the constitutional right to travel, which I completely agree with. I don't understand the idea that a person who is sick or disabled who's using medical marijuana, when they cross an imaginary line, suddenly they're deserving of imprisonment. It makes no sense, and our Constitution was designed that way too. That was the intent here, is to protect us and make us all Americans, and to not feel like we have to be separated from one another because of different states. Thank you, Matthew Zuckerberg. We've got your name up on the board there. We'll have people get in touch with you. Appreciate your time joining us here on NORML Show Live. When we come back, we've got the California Marijuana Report. Stay tuned. It's NORML Show Live.
If you like what you hear and would like to donate to the cause, send your check or money order to NORML Show Live, 1600 K Street Northwest, Suite 501, Washington, D.C., 20006. Your donation is a tax-deductible gift to the NORML Foundation and will be used to help support this online media. Thank you.
Hello, this is Webb Hubble. Life insurance is now available for responsible marijuana smokers. For years, responsible marijuana smokers have not been able to access affordable life insurance products. NORML uniquely supports cannabis consumers. 2 carriers have already agreed to offer all of their traditional life insurance products at all levels without excluding individuals who smoke marijuana responsibly. Help NORML and help yourself. If you've been declined for life insurance, are paying above market premiums, or simply want to know what now may be available in the way of insurance for marijuana smokers, contact me at info@mclaughlinonline.com or simply call me at 202-293-5566.
California ain't holding me back. Here in California.
California has long been the epicenter of marijuana law reform in the United States. We're joined now by Eric Brenner, the producer of the California Marijuana Report, for an interview with an important figure in cannabis in the Golden State. You can hear the entire California Marijuana Report on KRXA AM 540 in Monterey. Now, here's Eric Brenner.
Hi, this is Chief Mayor, and you listen to Eric Brenner on the California Marijuana Report.
And a very special guest this week on the California Marijuana Report, Joe Pep Harris, the lead singer on that great track, Smilin' Faces Sometimes, by his group, The Undisputed Truth. Joe Pep Harris, a legend in the world of psychedelic soul. Welcome to the California Marijuana Report.
Hey, Eric, it's my pleasure to be here with you.
Joe Pep Harris, you're the lead singer of The Undisputed Truth. You worked with George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic for 9 years. Of course, a 2-decade career with Motown producer Norman Whitfield. We here on the California Marijuana Report, Joe, support marijuana legalization. We are getting behind this measure, Proposition 19, which would tax and legalize up to 1 ounce of marijuana here in California. We're also demanding the immediate release of all marijuana prisoners. Joe Pep Harris, how are you connected to this issue?
7 years ago, I was diagnosed with a swollen prostate. Okay, as it went on, 4 years ago, I was diagnosed where it had proceeded to prostate cancer. After researching all my options and trying to determine what I was going to be able to have to do, that I was going to have to live with, I started a homeopathic endeavor to try to correct my body. Some of the things that were suggested to me at that particular time was marijuana to help me with a lot of the symptoms and the problems that I was having, which was getting up to go to the bathroom all times of night, which caused me not to be able to sleep. And then it started being disruptive to my day. So I got on that regimen as well as some other regimens as far as homeopathic medicines, natural medicines. Everything was natural. The main thing that I had to deal with was water. I had to get good water, alkaline water if possible. And eating the correct foods changed my whole everything. And the crux of all that to keep me functioning, sane, was marijuana. I mean, I've never been a drinker. I mean, I've always drank socially. And I never drank really while I was working, I worked in the clubs all my life. So I managed to stay off of that. So that wasn't something that I would lean on. And here in California, you can get a pill for everything, but the side effects and the after effects and the damage that it does to your body made me think.
And we're speaking with Joe Pep Harris, the lead singer of The Undisputed Truth, right here on the California Marijuana Report. Joe, you had this diagnosis of prostate cancer. Which physician suggested marijuana?
There's one homeopathic doctor that I was dealing with. He suggested it. Now, marijuana was new to me, but never had I thought that it would be something that would be indicative for me to be able to improve my health. And once I got involved in it and started going to the marijuana dispensers here in Los Angeles, which gave me a choice, which made me a little bit more educated and aware of what I was buying and using and the specific reasons that I was using it. I was just amazed at the process. But then when I started having a lot of upgrades as far as my health was concerned, and all the things that it got to the point to say, well, let me see what this marijuana is doing. And I stopped using it for a couple of weeks, and I hurried back. Once I went back, my progress kept continuing to be progressive, and things started to work for me. And for 4.5 years now, I've been, 2 years. This is my first year cancer-free, but I am still using my same regimen, not so much as the medicines and things, because my body evidently has tried to correct itself. Still have problems sometimes because I still have an enlarged prostate, sleeping at night, but it has subsided to a point where it's very tolerable. I get enough rest.
Joe Pep Harris, the lead singer of The Undisputed Truth. I am so blown away with your story of triumph over prostate cancer. Only a strong person, both physically and emotionally, would be able to beat something like this. Joe Pep Harris, when you were diagnosed with cancer 7 years ago, and you were told the typical options, the usual treatments, the conventional treatments for this type of cancer, what was the physicians that made this original diagnosis, Joe? What was their reaction when you informed them that you chose marijuana to fight this cancer?
Oh, man. But there's two sets of doctors. One told me that I was surely going to die if I didn't rush to have a surgery and chemo and all those things. And on the other hand, when I got my homeopathic opinion, I was told quite the opposite. I was told that there was no treatment that was going to cure it, which was what I wanted to do. And then I had another doctor that I spoke with who told me that whatever it was that I was going to do, and we were kind of familiar with each other, but he was being very professional about the way that he gave me his advice. He said, whatever you do, you make sure that you make a decision that's going to respond to your quality of life, where you can have the quality of life that you want. He didn't specifically tell me to have chemo. He told me to address it immediately, but to make my decision based on what my quality of life was. And I read that to say, if you can't sleep, and this doctor told me, say, listen, I can give you some pills. They are natural, all these natural, he said, but they don't work for everybody. You have to find what works for you. He asked me if I smoked marijuana. I said I did. I smoked it recreationally when I was recording and creating as a creator too. I didn't just smoke it just to get high or something like that. I used it for what I was doing, and I don't, like I said, I don't drink, I don't do anything else. My rock and roll hardcore days are over, and I had to realize that, the things that I did in my younger days, coming up in this business, you have to understand that your heart and your lungs and all the other parts of your body has been working overtime. So I had to make some real decisions for myself. Do you want to live? How do you tell folks that this is something that's good for you? And I had to tell some old folks, some of my family's friends, who were having problems, and convinced a couple of them to smoke some marijuana. They thank me today. So I feel like, well, you know what? I'm not psychedelicing myself to believe that I'm doing something that's helping me, because let me say this. I mean, all these side effects and from cancer and sitting up with your eyes wide open at night, going to the bathroom every 10 minutes, that's real. And The only thing that I can contribute to being relieved of that was smoking me some strong sour diesel.
Joe Pat Paris, the lead singer of The Undisputed Truth, thank you so much for joining us this week on the California Marijuana Report. And also, thanks for sharing your story on how you beat prostate cancer with the use of marijuana. Be sure to listen to my entire interview with this rock legend, Joe Pat Paris of The Undisputed Truth, this Sunday on AM 540 KRXA Monterey, Santa Cruz, Salinas at 6 p.m. We will do a 1-hour California Marijuana Report special on Joe Pat Paris, the lead singer of The Undisputed.
Oh, man, what a fantastic interview. I'm so jealous that he got that. Joe Pat Harris, going back to the day. Oh, I love that music, and I love the art he put out. Hey, a few things here as we're wrapping up the show. I want to give a shout out to activists trying to start a new chapter of NORML in Liberal, Kansas. I love the idea of a liberal NORML. That works for me. So, Liberal, Kansas, the email address we want to get a hold of is Brian. He's also known as Sneaker Pimp 420 in our chat room. But Brian's email address is, and I will type it here in the chat room, XNA_13_99X. Yeah, pick something we can remember at yahoo.com. So I'll put that right there. I would advise you to get another email address there, Sneaker Pimp. But anyway,
Liberal, Kansas, is that an oxymoron?
It might be. I don't know. But we hope to get NORML chapters established everywhere. If you're interested, send an email to chapters@norml.org. I am NORML's outreach coordinator, so I'm the guy who will get them and help shepherd you through the process of forming your own NORML chapter to help end marijuana prohibition. Do what you can do. We got all sorts of other surprises coming up here after the show. We're going to do NORML Show Live after the show, and we're going to try something. This is an experiment in progress, but we are going to try to do call-ins. We're going to have you calling into the show. We have a number for our Skype now, and I think we can get someone on the line. Carrie's going to be out there too, and we'll see if she can call screen maybe one or two. We're not going to do a whole bunch, but we want to test this out and see how it works. So it's going to be one of them crazy, kooky experiments from us. We're having a good time. Don't forget about NORML National Conference coming up September 9th through 11th.
But even sooner, Seattle Hemp Fest.
And Seattle Hemp Fest, we are 2 weeks away from Seattle Hemp Fest.
We haven't even started planning what we're going to do yet.
I'll be opening up Seattle Hemp Fest playing bass with Tim Pate and Cousin Kenny and John Cornett. We'll be opening up on the main stage at noon on Saturday, main stage noon on Sunday, and the Sealy stage 6 p.m. on Saturday at Seattle Hemp Fest. I've also got a couple of speaking engagements and a panel at the Hemposium, as well as us taking care of the National NORML booth.
Come meet Ganja John.
Meet Ganja John, meet Radical Russ. Keith Stropton and Alan St. Pierre won't be out this year, so we have
Madeline Martinez will, though.
Madeline will be there. Kevin Oliver from Washington NORML as well. Come out to Seattle Hemp Fest. Meet us. Follow us on Twitter at Radical Russ or at Ganja John or both.
Yeah, and if you have any complaints about the show, ganjajohn@norml.org.
That's right, and we will get that taken care of. Follow us on Twitter. It's the best way to find out what's going on at Seattle Hemp Fest. We'll bring it to you live. And until next time, take care of each other, tokers.
We love the earth.
This is NORML Show Live, the voice of the Marijuana Nation.
Take it on one more time. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it.